In law, we distinguish between different kinds of intent. A crime where someone intentionally causes harm is different from a crime where someone commits an act that is extremely likely to cause harm, even if it might not be the individual's intent to harm someone. Obviously, engaging in very risky behavior is morally wrong regardless of intent, because it shows an indifference to the well-being of others, which is nearly as bad as intentionally harming others. In tort law, we use a principle called the learned hand formula, which measures the cost of the burden of care against the probability of the injury times the severity of the injury. Basically, if there is a high risk of minor injury or even a very minor risk of very serious injury, it is our duty to take reasonable care to prevent that injury from happening. We are morally and legally culpable if we don't take reasonable care. For some reason, when spelled out in this way, these moral principles seem abundantly obvious. And yet, especially on the left, people have a hard time recognizing their moral culpability when engaging in risky behavior just because it is not their intent to hurt anyone. People go out of their way to get drunk so that they can engage in risky and harmful behavior, and the next day tell everyone, "Well, what are you going to do? I was drunk." It's their excuse when they plan on sleeping with someone that they know they shouldn't sleep with. The number one predictor of crime and poverty is whether a child grew up in a household with both their father and mother. It is a better predictor than race, class, and education level. Scene script. Rape, incest, and danger to the life of the mother combined make up less than 1% of total abortions in the United States, meaning greater than 99% of the time abortion is a result of people consciously and willingly engaging in sex and then acting like it is an unfortunate and unforeseen side effect instead of the obvious and natural consequence of their risky behavior. The claim then becomes that they have no choice but to take an innocent human life because who could have seen this coming? Before you laugh off traditional values regarding sex and family, keep this in mind. Even when using protection, sexual intercourse has some of the greatest risks of all human behavior. We are toying with the creation of an actual human life. The consequences of creating that human life when we are not in a position to care for it are apparently, to you people, raise the child in less than perfect conditions, or murder the human being while it is still completely innocent. Afterwards, you will pretend like it's all just an unfortunate tragedy that no one could have foreseen, instead of the completely natural and foreseeable consequence inherently linked to sex. Sexual activity should be seen as extremely risky activity that could have the most dire of consequences, especially if you are pro-choice. Otherwise, you are immorally turning a blind eye to the inherent dangers you are creating for the most innocent of human life. You are the equivalent of a drunk driver. You may not be planning on getting anyone killed or harming anyone, but you are showing a complete indifference to the possibility.